What's up, guys? It's TechnoViking23 coming to you today with some news about Bioware, and none of it is good, at least in my opinion. Some absolutely crazy stuff coming out today. EA has announced that Casey Hudson and Mark Darrah have both left the company. Casey Hudson was the general manager of Bioware itself. Mark Darrah was the executive producer on the new Dragon Age game that has been in development for a little while. This is just crazy because BioWare has been having all kinds of issues the past year at least, retaining talent in the studio, especially people working on their bigger projects like Anthem, Mass Effect, and Dragon Age. It's been such a long time since they said, we're going to reboot Anthem and redevelop it and make it better, make it into a new and different game. And we've literally seen nothing at all in several months on the Anthem front. And we got the promising news that, Dragon Age is being worked on, and also the Mass Effect Legendary Edition is coming out in the spring of 2021, and they're also supposedly working on a new Mass Effect game in the background as well. But, Casey Hudson, obviously, if you're familiar with BioWare, if you're familiar with Mass Effect, has been a huge person behind that franchise for such a long time with BioWare. He actually came back to BioWare following the issues they had with Mass Effect Andromeda and Anthem. It was basically supposed to rebuild the studio. They put all their hopes in him to fix all the problems they were having, to basically help BioWare go back to being the BioWare that they used to be, recapture the BioWare magic, so to speak, which hasn't been with the company in quite some time. So, two very high-profile departures, and of course, they're saying all the right things. EA is saying, development's going to continue on all these projects just fine. Both Casey Hudson and Darrah both said that basically, it's time to move on. We've accomplished what we want to accomplish. The teams working on this stuff are going to do a great job. It's essentially the corporate speak that happens anytime there's a major departure from any studio. The only problem is BioWare's track record has been so awful the past couple of years. Their last two major releases, Anthem, Mass Effect Andromeda, were essentially failures. I still, personally, I enjoyed Mass Effect Andromeda. I never expected it to live up to the original Mass Effect trilogy, so I kind of didn't have my expectations that high to where they would get ruined. But at the same time, I could see all the flaws within that game. There were a lot of bugs when it first launched. I don't think it was nearly as bad as everyone kind of blew it up to be. And personally, I still got my $60 worth of enjoyment out of it. I've played it through twice, at least 200-300 hours of playtime through Andromeda. My biggest problem with that game was that they failed to recapture the magic of Mass Effect 3's multiplayer system, which was a really fun bonus of Mass Effect 3. That not a lot of people expected. The Mass Effect 3 multiplayer is still being played to this day. 8 years later, the servers are still active. They're still populated. I've been on several times, and I'm going to be doing some videos with Mass Effect multiplayer. It's pretty crazy that 8 years later, people are still playing that, but somehow when they made Andromeda, they couldn't capture that same magic. Obviously, the issues Anthem has had, basically a huge critical failure for EA, for BioWare, and they were finally kind of turning the corner a little bit. They were working on this new Dragon Age game, which everyone's really excited for, and then they announced that the Mass Effect Legendary Edition was coming in the spring of 2021, which a lot of us are looking forward to, and it's pretty sad that we're looking forward to the remaster of a game franchise that started in 2008 versus some of the more current projects that BioWare has been working on. So I don't think this is a good thing for the company at all. I don't think it's all roses and sunshine like all the executives are trying to play it off. I think this is definitely bad news for BioWare. I think they are in big trouble now. They've struggled through development pretty much with all their recent titles. And now you got two of the big-time players leaving. And, basically saying, we've done all we can, we're retiring, we want to pursue other things, and all the work's been really great, and you're basically just saying all the stuff that they're supposed to say. We've seen a couple of other guys leave the company and talk about how the cultural differences had changed at BioWare, how they weren't allowed to be as creative as they used to be. The EA had them on it's tight schedules to get things done. But we've also seen the stuff that's come out about Anthem, about how poor Bioware itself was doing, and how EA basically had to tell them to keep flying in the game because they were getting ready to take it out, and they just really had no idea what they were doing. They spent about 6 years on Anthem and just really didn't do much at all. So it's almost like Bungie and Activision in this case, where a lot of people were blaming Activision for some of the struggles that Destiny had, but in reality it was just that Bungie was not that good of a studio anymore. And we've seen that as Bungie is separated from Activision now, and pretty much everything they've been doing with Destiny 2 since the split has been very lackluster. So we're kind of seeing the same thing happen with Bioware. A lot of people love to blame EA for everything, but it's very clear that Bioware is no longer the studio that it once was. It doesn't have the same, acclaim and glory anymore, and quite honestly, a lot of people don't trust them to make good games anymore. After Andromeda, after Anthem, they're going to really struggle, I think, to hit whatever pre-order mark they set on their next game that they come out with, although I'm sure people are going to buy Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I know I am, and hopefully they don't screw it up, because if they screw that up, I'm pretty much done with Bioware, because Mass Effect Legendary Edition is really the only thing I'm looking forward to in the next couple of months, along with Cyberpunk 2077. So I really hope that they get it right. I hope that these departures from the company don't affect the development of that game too much, but I just don't have that hope anymore for this company, and I think Bioware is in big trouble. I think they're really going to struggle to come back from this. Casey Hudson, like I said, was one of their big guys for such a long time, and basically brought back in to save the company, and now he's leaving. So I just don't know. I think this is terrible news for a company that's lost so many executives and so many important employees over the last year or so. It's going to be tough for them to bounce back from this, and I hope I'm wrong. Like I said, I more than anybody else want Bioware to return to glory. Mass Effect, the Knights of the Old Republic series, Star Wars The Old Republic MMO. I've played so many of their games that I absolutely loved. And even Anthem, I jump on Anthem every once in a while just to play for an hour or so. And I tell you that, the gameplay, just flying around the map for a little bit and fighting some enemies, it gets boring after a while. But I tell you that it's just like there's this really fun aspect to it at first, and it's just enjoyable to fly around and use the javelin suits and the speed of the combat and everything. And you just kind of wish this game had been a lot better than it was, and you kind of hope they return at some point and make it a better experience, but who knows. Anyways, guys, let me know down below what you think about this news today with Bioware executives leaving the company and leaving the development of some of their current projects sort of up in the air in terms of what's going to happen. I think it's definitely a bad sign for the company, but we'll see what happens. Anyways, guys, as always, thank you for watching. Hope you guys are having a great day, and I will see you again next time.